Little Blaze here is doing so good today. Got way better at haltering, much softer. He hasn't tried to pull away yet, which is great. That was kind of his original MO, was to kind of want to throw his head in the air and kind of scream, "I don't want to," and then run off. So he hasn't done that at all. He's leading really nicely, and he's a little defensive about his feet and his legs, so he was kind of wanting to bite and stomp his feet quite a bit. And so I switched to the stick, and it was too hard to film when we first started this, but I want you to see how good he's doing. This is kind of what he wants to do. And so the stomp part I don't mind that much. It's that he, in the beginning, he was wanting to kind of bite at me, and I didn't want to be, understandably, bent over in front of him while he was still thinking that biting might be the right way to get this to stop. So I switched to the stick just to give me a little bit more room. And if he needs to nose at the stick, that's okay. And so we're just working on getting him a little more tolerant of having his legs messed with. I'm going to do this with all 4 legs. So he's doing real good with this left front. And then we'll switch over to, this is awkward. There we go. To this right front. And just pet right on down. Here he's sniffing my hand, and that's okay. I don't mind if he wants to sniff and kind of check in. But the biting is not something I would like to encourage. So I just want him here. Head's nice and low. He's not stressed out, and he's just letting me pet this whole leg. So this is the first step towards being able to pick him up and get these bad boys trimmed. So he's really accepting a lot today. I'm going to kind of just rub his chest a little bit, kind of that underneath area. And then switch back here. I'm being a little less cautious about switching spots than I was in the very beginning. Going over his head, he still gets a little concerned, and then it appears on the other side. That was really good. And I'm not holding him at all because I'm holding my phone. I actually have the rope just draped over my forearm. He's standing here completely on his own on a slack line. So for Blaze, this is really good. And we're just going to start, see his head's kind of come up. We'll start working on rubbing back down his back and his belly. I haven't gone underneath his belly. That's one of the last spots that a lot of them will kind of relax on. So, and I don't want to poke him in the ribs. I'd rather do this with my hand. Because sometimes if we're not real careful with the stick, it can feel kind of like a jab. You see, he's already got that hip rested, so he's prepared to kick if he thinks something bad's going to happen. So I'm just going to stay up here, let him get used to it. I like this heavier stick. It's a little awkward for my hands, but it also gives me a lot more control over the feel when it gets to him. So I'm just kind of petting down around this hip, back towards his tail, staying out of in front of him in case he needs to go forward, but he's just watching right now. And I don't want to block his vision. So he's going to turn his head ever so slightly to the left so he can see what's happening more clearly, and I don't want to take that away from him by standing in his way. I'm also much safer if I stand out a ways, so this way it's a little safer for me and a little more confident building for him because he can see what's happening. I don't want to be sneaky about this. I want him to know it's coming. You see he's letting me come down his leg a little further now. Let's see if I can switch that view. There we go. And so I'm just going to see how low he can let me pet before he gets worried. Sorry if my filming's not fantastic. It's kind of tricky to do. So he's actually much more confident with his hind feet than he is with his fronts. There he's letting me go all the way down the leg. So I might just leave that leg alone right there because that was really nice. That's the first time I've actually attempted to touch his hind leg that far down. And he handled it really, really well. So, sorry, we're going to go under the rope real quick so that I can switch hands. Worst filmographer ever. I apologize. But I really want you to see, there's a nice little breath, lick and chew. And what he's actually doing is he's shaking his head, licking and chewing, and then trying to get closer to me. Which is great. He's relaxing a lot more confident in being with people and interacting with me. Here again, he's stepping into me. This is his choice. I'm not pulling on him or anything, and now he's nosing me because he's so cute. And I love seeing this. His personality's coming out more, that he's getting a little bit braver and starting to trust a little more. So same thing, I'm just going to start with the stick as if the stick was my hand. If he needs to sniff it, we'll let him. And I want to take that away. And we'll just kind of go down, see what he thinks. See, he's really watching the stick go back. And that's okay. I want him to know that it's going to happen. I want to be able to lift the stick up and bring it back down, because that's how we're going to pet. If he's worried about that, I may just go back and forth like this so that there's no release of that contact if he needs it, but he's handling it pretty well. So I'm just going to kind of stroke down his back and his ribs. Like I said, I won't go down low on his belly with the stick because I just can't, I don't have quite the strength in my hand to control the stick so it doesn't end up accidentally jabbing him. So we'll come down his point of his shoulder here, and there I kind of poked him a little bit. I'm not nearly as coordinated with my left hand. And same thing, we've been working on these front legs quite a bit, so I'm just going to make sure we're good and confident. And this is good because he can't actually see the stick coming. It's under his face. So he just has to trust that this is going to be okay if he lets me do it, which he is, which is fantastic. And his head's nice and low, still relaxed. Here he's a little nervous, looking back. As I switch to his hindquarters. Again, I haven't done anything yet with his hindquarters. This is pretty new. And he's sniffing my arm, since you can't see his little face right now. There's a little tail lash, and there he got a little bit bothered. I probably stayed a little longer than I should have. So I'm going to see if I can get in and get out a little quicker. And I just want it to feel nice and smooth and predictable. I don't want him to feel like he has to, defend himself. He's still sniffing my elbow, so I'm kind of watching in case he feels like he might want to bite. Which he may. I mean, he's just there. His tail started going, so I tried to get out of there before he moved that foot. I'm a little more cautious on this side. And I'm also, in his defense, a little less coordinated on this side. There we go. I'll leave it at that. It's hard to film and do this at the same time. So what I really like here is he's wanting to be with me. He's not making me drag him. He's not trying to bolt away. He's really trying to hook on and stay with us now. And lots more licking and chewing, softer expression on his face. Not nearly as concerned and tense as he was. So he's making progress in leaps and bounds today, so I'm pretty excited about that. The next step as he gains more confidence is just getting him more comfortable being touched all over and working on his feet. And as that gets better, we'll continue building the leading and eventually leading him out around the property more. Good boy. And getting him exposed to more areas and different things and building his confidence. So big progress for little Blaze.